Hello everyone, this is Shifa. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I am going to talk about Anita Desai's novel Fasting Feasting. Before we start with the novel, I am going to give you a short and crisp biography of Anita Desai. She was born to a German mother, Anita Mazumdar, and a Bengali father. Because of the mixed culture, she grew up speaking a mix of both German, Hindi, and also Bengali, Urdu, and English. She began writing stories at an early age. At the time when Desai was beginning to feel pessimistic about her writing career, to her relief, after much effort, her novel Cry the Peacock was published in 1963 and it was very famous. She has written around 17 book novels, including In Custody, which has adapted for screenplay in the year 1993. While many of her works have an Indian context, she also writes narratives which takes place in US and internationally. Now starting with the novel Fasting Feasting, let's talk about the key facts. Again, the full title is Fasting Feasting. It is written in the year 1999 in the Great Britain and it is published in the same year. The literary period is contemporary and the genre is novel. The setting is kept in a small town in India, or the first section of the novel, while the second section is in Western Massachusetts. Now let's look at the summary of the novel. So the novel starts in a small town in India in the late 1970s. Now in the overall novel you are going to see three families. I am going to tell you which are those families. The first family is of Uma, her younger sister Aruna, and her parents Mama Papa. We are also going to see their younger brother, okay, but first we will start with the story. In a small town in 1970s, Uma and her younger sister Aruna, they were growing up in a very traditional Indian household and their parents called only Mama and Papa. The name is not revealed over here. What they are trying to do, they are trying to control the destinies of their daughters by teaching them domestic and traditional feminine skills, so like household chores and a very conservative thinking that you should be doing all these household chores which is going to be useful in your future times. Uma is a little bit, because also she is an elder sibling, she takes little interest in marriage or household chores, and in fact she wants to gain education. So she loves attending her convent school despite she is not so much good at studies. Now Mama and Papa is showing obviously very little patience for Uma. It is very much expected, especially in an Indian household, right? The person who is in a way trying to defend and trying to go against traditions, what happens is, especially in Indian cultures, you will see that people try to oppress those person, right? So this is what happens. Mama and Papa, they are showing very little patience for Uma, and Papa, who is a middle government magistrate, dominates his family by dictating family's daily activities and everyone's future. And in fact, Mama also cooperates with Papa on almost every issue. Now, as I said, Arun is the younger brother of these two sisters. Arun is born later in the novel, and when he is born, the parents of Uma decides that Uma should leave school to take care of her baby brother. Uma runs away to the convent school and she tries to beg to Mother Agnes. So Mother Agnes is in a way the principal of that particular school to talk to their parents so that she will be able to get back into the school because she doesn't want to leave her education. Uma has her first seizure on the convent floor of the school. But even after begging so much, even after Uma begging to Mother Agnes says that she is powerless and she cannot help. So she cannot stop her parents from making her leave the school. Okay. Uma's beautiful cousin. So basically, this was one family where you have two daughters, one son, and parents. Now this is some another family, Anamika. Okay, she is the beautiful cousin of Uma, and she has the opportunity to go to Oxford University. She got the opportunity, but again her parents, who are her parents, Lily auntie and Bakul uncle, they doesn't allow her to go, and instead what they do is they marry her off to the wealthiest, most educated men they found. Soon Uma and her parents hear about Anamika's husband, and they also hear about how she is in trouble at her in-laws house. Her mother-in-law beats her and treats her like a servant. Gradually, you will see that as the novel progresses and as Uma grows up, men shows little interest in her because physical features of her younger sister is much more attractive than Uma. So, because of that, after 3 failed marriage attempts and including 2 dowry scams, one old man marries Uma, but then also after that he abandons her. Because of which Mama and Papa gives up on trying to marry Uma off. Aruna, okay, who is Aruna? Aruna is her sister. Meanwhile, receives many marriage proposal because, as I said, she is relatively much attractive than her sister Uma. Okay, and what, because of these marriage proposals, she chooses Arvind, a wealthy man from Bombay. After her expensive ceremony, Aruna leaves for her new life in Bombay, and whenever she visits her own house, she is treated superior to her family, and Uma is neglected in all these process. Given great care and attention, Arun studies to the point of exhaustion every night under the supervision of forceful Papa. Now the perspective have been shifted to Arun, their brother, and you can see that Papa and Mama, they are forcing Arun to have a extreme level of education where Arun feels exhausted. He is very suffocated in that particular surrounding. Arun has been vegetarian since childhood, and but this quality of Arun is not liked by his parents. Okay, they consider this as weak and old fashioned. Now, coming back to again Uma tries every possible way to get away from home because she is neglected over here. On one occasion, miraculously, her relative Meera Masi, she is a religious widow, travels the country and she tricks the Mama and Papa, Uma's parents, to letting her bring Uma with her to an ashram. So she takes away Uma to the ashram, and there Uma wanders freely and happily for a month until the parents sends her cousin, Uma's cousin Ramu, to bring her back. Now women in that particular community, what they are doing, they are trying to bring back Uma again out of her entrapped family life, inviting her to socialize and work with them. And on one occasion, Dr. Dutt, now this is another character, comes to the Uma's parents' house to invite Uma to come and work for her. But Mama and Papa, the parents of Uma, refuses, and what they say that my daughter won't be going for work outside. Uma realizes, and Uma is in very painful situation that her parents is never going to allow Uma to do such things like to go and work outside, right? Now, on one night, the family hears that the Anamika has been found dead, burned to the death on her porch. But it is not clear that whether it was a suicide or a murder. Lily auntie and Bakul uncle, who is Anamika's parent, they visit to distribute Anamika's ashes into the sacred fire. Now this becomes the climax of the whole novel. The novel now switches its focus onto Arun. Arun is Uma's brother. After much hard work, Arun wins a scholarship to study in America. Okay, and now he is spending his first year in school at America. The following summer, Arun reluctantly stays with an American family, Mr. Patton and Mrs. Patton. Now the whole point of view has been shifted from Indian perspective to American perspective, and the new family has been introduced of Mr. and Mrs. Patton and their children Rod and Melanie. ठीक है, Rod is a son and Melanie here is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Patton. Mrs. Patton warmly welcomes Arun, but he soon sees how Mr. Patton is not so much welcoming and in fact very self oriented, and the son Rod is also in the same manner. Mrs. Patton takes Arun shopping with her, and she also insists Arun to teach her how to be a vegetarian. Meanwhile, Arun becomes disgusted with American all these excess. He also finds that the Melanie, the daughter, is having some eating problem, eating disorder, and the story in a way progresses like this only. Every day Arun goes to Mr. and Mrs. Patton's house and he visits, and they do a lot of things together like shopping and all. Towards the end of the summer in the novel, Arun and Melanie go with Mrs. Patton to the pond. Okay, Arun delightfully enjoys the feeling of escaping himself when he is swimming. Later, while Mrs. Patton is sunbathing, Arun goes to look for Melanie, who has disappeared. But later on, he finds her half conscious in a pile of her own vomit. Mrs. Patton soon arrives, shocked at what she sees. Melanie enters into a rehabilitative institution and Rod leaves for college. Mr. Patton takes on a second job and Mrs. Patton becomes interested in Eastern spirituality. Arun receives a package carefully packed by Uma, but he gives the contents away to Mrs. Patton and he leaves to school at the university. So basically you can see the story is very simple. Okay, the story you can see is divided mostly into two parts. One is the Indian part and the another one is American cultural part, right? But if you go through the novel, you are going to see very short things, very precise detail, which is giving you the difference between what are the gender roles and what are the social roles. Then you are going to see the distinction between the family life and individual freedom, which means what exactly is feasting and what exactly is fasting. Feasting means plenty and fasting means want. Then again you are going to see two culture, that is traditional culture, Indian culture and modernity, which is in the West. And then you are going to see the last but not least theme of this novel, and that is loneliness and togetherness. When you as an individual, where do you stand, and what are your individual desires, etc., and what are your roles in terms when it comes to the whole family. So these five are the main important themes of the novel. The first is gender and social role. Second is family life and individual freedom. Third is plenty versus want. You may have a lot of plenty of things in your life, but your wants are totally different. Then tradition and modernity, and the last loneliness and togetherness. So this was end of the novel. I hope you like it. See you in the next video. Bye bye. Take care.